Welcome to the Autobahn Country Club North Track. Right here is the turn 8 apex. This is the last corner of the lap. Cars will be going double file here to take the green. Starter stand is the red. Structure on the left. Start finish line coming up here into a really fast turn 1, almost 100 miles an hour. The fast guys will be going flat out into a very hard braking zone for turn 2. Second gear. Really important to be on the power early because it is all about this downhill exit. And then we enter turn 3, which will be full throttle for all the Spec Miatas. No lift here. 4 and 5. Turn 4, really important to make sure you get the car set up on the exit for the turn 5 full throttle entry. There's no lift through turn 5 and you'll be upshifting to 4th gear in the middle of it. Here's turn 6, second hardest braking zone. Really important to turn in as late as you can. It's relatively low grip compared to the other corners, but it's really important to, instead of not slow down enough, over slow so you get the better exit. Here's turn 7. The most critical part of this corner is to roll the best amount of speed possible since there's no straightaway after it. And then turn 8, really critical to get a good exit because of the long straightaway. Looks like good power down there. And just kind of let the car track out, minimize the friction in the front of the car. And that's a lap of Autobahn North Track, about a 1:11.8.
Afternoon, as we are ready to go racing here at the Autobahn Country Club for our Spec Miata racing. We have 2 double headers that are going to be happening today with our Spec Miata 1 and our SM2 field that's going to be happening right here on the North Circuit today, and it's going to be one hell of an action that we're going to have here later this afternoon. Track conditions are a little bit on the wet side as well, as you can see there on the screen, a little bit of wet spots on the outside part of the track, but we have some pretty good dry conditions and sunny skies that are going to be happening here throughout the course of the afternoon today. We also have some partly cloudy skies that's going to be here bringing in a little bit of action, so we're looking at some pretty interesting on-track activity that's going to be happening. I'm going to be Jordan Missick, followed by my commentator Shelton Lewis, who's right next to me. Shelton, what can we expect in today's racing action?
Well, talking to the drivers today, the track is still wet in some areas, specifically 6, 7, and 8. So those going to be some areas to watch, and hopefully we have some good racing come out of it too, and no one gets into any real trouble.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the whole thing plays out as we'll take our way through the gate as we're on our first of 2 pace laps for our Spec Miata series. We'll go through the first running order right now, and we'll start on the pole with Mike Ryan, who's in the 120. First career pole for Mike Ryan, able to come away with a 1 minute 13.004 as his fastest lap time. Really crazy stuff for Mike Ryan as well. You know, he's coming with this first pole position that he was able to get, and he was on top of this race. afternoon. John Joe is also going to line up beside him in second, the number 31. He's going to be taking his experience that he had in the Mazda MX-5 Global Cup Series and that race caddy machine of the Spec Miata Series. He was also the pole in the very first race, back for his second race of the season. Charles Kushida is going to line up in the third spot. He is currently the points leader in the number 60 car. Going to be coming in now coming off of 2 race wins. Actually, the race win the last race out on the South track that we had earlier this year. So Charles Kushida trying to come back and go back-to-back wins on the campaign early on. Gavin Gleitzman, the 14-year-old, going to level off in fourth in the number 51, the Food and Fuel Spec Miata. So we expect some good things out of Gavin. Obviously, he's come up through the karting ranks pretty much, and he's put in some good results early on for Gavin Gleitzman. Mike Bernardi is going to be lining up in the 5th spot in the number 8 car. Alongside him, the number 69, that Martini car of Jake Malter. He's also got our onboard camera a little bit later for this afternoon. Scott Ballard in the 190 and he's going to line up in the 7th spot alongside the number 3 car of Tom Bagley. Tom Bagley coming in just off the Legends dinner at the Indianapolis 500 this past weekend down in Indianapolis at Speedway, Indiana at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Number 77 of Billy Benning is going to be lining up in the 9th spot. Alongside him is going to be the number 25 of Dave Hicks. That's going to round out the top 10. A little bit further back, 11th spot is going to be the number 12 of Luke Satterfield alongside the number 71 of Greg Sword. Starting 13th is going to be the 157 of Matt Alexander. Second place in points, going to be having a little bit of a back qualifying effort, coming from a little bit further back. Going to be having to make his way up to the field. Sheldon, he's going to be one to watch that we're going to look for today. Next up in the number 14 spot is going to be the number 10 of Matteo Azzari, who's just coming off his SCCA weekend out at Blackhawk Farms, I believe. So Matteo Azzari coming off a nice, very good weekend out there. Rounding out the field, we got in the 15th spot Art Zeisman, number 15. Alongside him, the 26 of Scott Bowman. Then we have the number 44 of Kevin Davis, the number 14 of Alex Berchinoli, and the 54 of Ethan Tyler, or the 08 of Ethan Tyler, rounding out the rest of the field. As we get ready to come to Green Show, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. Just hopefully we have a good race.
Field is now starting to roll their way off the final corner. It's nice and easy, 2 by 2. Field looking nice, clean, and organized here as we are rolling to the start. Chris has the flag stand in the hand, waiting to throw the green. We're waiting, and green flag is out. We are racing here at the Autobahn for our doubleheader. Looking right now, Jake Bolter going to pop out, go to the inside. He thinks better of it, tucks back in line behind Gavin Gleitzman as they go into turn number 1. Mike Ryan leads them through turn number 1. Side by side now is battle for second between Charles Kushida and John Joe DeWayne as they're going to go through turn number 1. Clean start here, Shelton, as we get racing action underway.
Yeah, Mike Ryan had a good start. Initially, was able to pull out a little bit of a gap and take the inside line of turn 1 and 2.
Right now as the field kind of snakes their way through turns 3, 4, and 5. Very momentum flowing section in the corners. Barely using any brake, as we heard from Brick Casey Jr. on the Autobahn lap around the track. And you can see there's a little bit of patches of water there as we got one car going to the inside. It looks like the 190 of, I believe that is Scott Ballard going to the inside there. He makes it work. Everybody now kind of trying to mind their P's and Q's here as they have each and every line. Brian going to go to the outside. Charles Kushida going to go to the inside. The points leader trying to go for the lead here in turn number 7 for the first time. Now side by side between them two. They're going to go through turn number 8. Mike Ryan has the preferred line. Gavin Gleitzman trying to throw a nose to the inside of Mike Ryan there. They're going to come out side by side now. And John Joe DeWayne's going to be on the back bumper pushing Gavin Gleitzman. Gleitzman now has a huge head of steam. He might go for the lead here. Goes to the inside. Side by side across the line. Give the spot potentially to Gavin Gleitzman. He powers through to the lead. 14-year-old Gavin Gleitzman to the lead. Locks up, though, goes into 1.
Yeah, Gavin Gleitzman had a good run on this turn 1. It just couldn't get it slowed down enough.
He was able to hold on to the lead, however, as they go through turn number 1 and 2. Takes the field into turn number 3. Mike Ryan will fall back in line to the 3rd. John Joe DeWayne tucks in behind him. Further back, I believe that's the number 8 of Mike Bernardi, but I think that's Matt Alexander already up into the 6th spot, who started back in 13th.
Yeah, he's been flying through the field. Hopefully, we could see more of him coming up to the top 5. Hopefully.
Right now, we just also had Tom Bagley, who had a pit lane start from the last race. He's now just kind of gotten going, has left the field. That's Jake Malter, who's kind of dropped the wheel off in the corner at the exit of turn 6. We were talking with some of the drivers before the hand in this race, and a lot of them were saying the track is very slick, especially offline and in the grass. You drop a tire in the grass or hit any of the wet spots, you potentially could just be along for the ride and just waiting until you come to a stop.
Yeah, you're just in for a roller coaster ride at that point. And it's been raining at this past couple of days, so the track is still drying up and the grass is definitely still wet. So the drivers want to make sure that they want to find that dry patch and stay on it.
Meanwhile, we've had a lead change up at the front as this 31 of John Jodawayne has gone to the front of the field. Also side by side between Gavin Gleitzman and Taro Kishida there. But all while this is happening, Matt Alexander has been on a tear coming up through the field. He's already made his way up to fourth. Now lurking on the side by side battle between Taro Kishida and Gavin Gleitzman, looking to potentially look at where the momentum is going to fall. Right now it might fall behind Gavin, but he's looking to the inside of Taro potentially going through turn number 5. Field now coming through turn number 6. You can see there's a big wet spot there. And I say that Gavin Gleitzman hits it, gets a little sideways coming through turn number 6. One car now hits a really big mud puddle, and that was Mike Bernani there at the exit of 6.
Yeah, that's the corner that all the drivers were talking about was still wet. And that car going off and bringing a little bit of mud onto the track.
Yeah, it's definitely not good for the track conditions nonetheless in that sense. But, like we talked about, John, with all the rain that's happening, it's something you have to kind of keep an eye on as Gavin Gleitzman's off the track and into the tire wall. Gavin Gleitzman hits the wall just at the exit of turn number 9, dropped the tire, did something very similar to what I saw from Bob Rasinger in qualifying, in the SM2 qualifying, just dropped the tire and kind of went off the track, hit the guardrail in qualifying, but Gavin Gleitzman kind of goes head on into the wall here. Doesn't look like the car is that damaged at all from at least our point of view. Obviously, he's still trying to get the car going. Now starts to kind of get going again, and the car looks like it's still looking all 4 tires are straight. Mike Bernardi has also come into the pit road as well in the number 8 machine. He looks pretty dirty. Dumps a water bottle on top of the windshield there. Gets one of the guys to kind of wipe the windshield off right now, and is just trying to kind of clean the visor, I guess you could say, or clean the windshield just so he can get back out on track.
Yeah, that's going to be very important so you can see. Yeah, all that mud that he brought back up on track, I'm surprised that he was able to get it around.
Gavin Gleitzman has also continued on. It looks like nothing has been damaged to the car. He's currently running through turn number 4 right now. Meanwhile, back up front, John Jodawayne has opened the gap up to about 1.5 seconds over Taro Kishida, with Matt Alexander still looming in the balance. But he's also been kind of now trying to regroup himself after what happened just in front of him. Mike Bernardi also, in the meantime, has kind of pulled off the racetrack. I think he's decided to call it quits for this race. So Mike Bernardi going to be our first retiree of the race as well. Meanwhile, we look back at our pole sitter. The 120 of Mike Ryan, who sits in 4th right now, is leading at the head of a 3-car battle that we see now between him, Scott Ballard, and Jake Malter. He's got a little bit of dirt on his car as well, a little bit of mud. So he might have done some off-track driving as well that we saw at the exit of turn 2. Further back, another guy who's also kind of made his way up towards the front has been the number 14 of Alex Bertagnoli. He has slowly moved his way up into the top spots that we've seen up here. Bertagnoli right now kind of running currently in the looking right now actually. Bertagnoli right now running in the 12th spot as he started from the back and missed qualifying as well. Ethan Tyler's another one as well in the 08. He kind of missed qualifying as well, had some kind of issue, but he wasn't able to attend qualifying. Has found himself now up into the 8th spot. We also have one other car that's spinning out on track right now that looks like it might be the 15, if I'm mistaken in that sense. It looks like it's the 15, and that's the 15 of Art Zeismer, who's now spun off of the turn number 5 exit. He's trying to keep the wheels going, trying to keep some grip in the tires. Trying now got to get it going. There's the 51 of Gavin Gleitzman, who's now just coming in the frame here. Would like to be interested to see how Art Zeismer was able to lose it at the exit of 15 there. And we also have another car that's off. It looks like the 26 of Scott Bowman here in turn number 5. Bowman now was also had a pretty decent, struggled a little bit in qualifying, was qualified 16th, so the qualifying run that's now a race that's kind of gone from bad to worse in a sense.
Yeah, right now it's just going to be a race for survival, just to stay on track, just not to hit the wet patches and to keep the car, off of the curbs. I'm pretty sure these curbs are slightly damp too.
Yeah, I was talking to Andre Van Buren before the race began during the drivers' meeting, and he was kind of showing a little bit of concern about this race coming into it, and I told him, if you just keep it on the black stuff, keep it on the pavement, you're going to be just fine. It's when you get off the pavement and you end up in the grass area is where it kind of messes you up a little bit. So right now, all the drivers trying to keep it on the black stuff as well. As you can see, there's a little bit of mud that's kind of come up onto the track of the turn 6. That was from the 8 of Mike Bernardi from beforehand. But everywhere else, kind of some damp spots here a little bit. Like I mentioned, in turn number 6, you have that big water patch that's kind of on the outside there that you can't really dip your tires in, as it kind of will mess up your entry to the corner. As we see a pass right there between the number 08 of Ethan Tyler and the number 12 of Luke Satterfield. Ethan Tyler doing a really nice job setting that pass up. As we saw Ethan Tyler kind of go to the outside, Satterfield doing a little defensive line there, and then Ethan Tyler kind of crossing back over through the corner. Shelton, when we talk about this, especially in a track like the North Track here and how tight it is, how important is it for car placement and setting up a pass here?
It's going to be very important, but with the conditions out here now, it's going to be difficult, much more difficult than it is really normally during a dry day. But since the track is drying and the wet patches, it's all about positioning your car at the right spot of the track.
We're just a little bit past halfway now again because we have two races and we've had to split up the field. We've reduced the amount of lap count now to about 15 laps per each race. So 15 laps is the total. That's what we're running to. We have now completed 5 on the docket. 6 actually have gone into the books. We're now down to 9 laps to go. Tom Bagley actually now coming in the pit road right now in the number 3 Mazda, who actually had his window net was down in the process. Just got the window net back up. Coming right back now as the rest of the field is coming across the line right now. The top 3 obviously pulled away. The 31 of John Joe DeWayne, the 60 of Taro Kashida, the 157 of Matt Alexander. Tom Bagley actually doing a pretty decent job allowing the field to just kind of go by and then got himself settled into the groove. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, this is the battle for 4th position. That's between the 120, our pole sitter of Mike Ryan, and the 69 of Jake Bolter. These two have kind of been going at it side by side, door to door for the last couple of laps now. We saw Mike Ryan go to the inside of Malter. Actually gave him a little bit of a shove down the front straightaway, but now Malter trying the outside, trying to just get around the number 120 of Mike Ryan as best he can.
Yeah, and I would like Matt Alexander put in a 1:12.6. That's the fastest time of this race, and today qualifying was about 1:13, 1:14s. So yeah, he's even though the track is damp, he's really moving out there.
Track is definitely drying up as well with all the conditions and everything that's been happening as well. Now with the sun coming out on track too, it's definitely starting to put some heat into the track. It's putting heat in the tires, and we're starting to see some times dropping as well. Like we said, 1:12.6 is the fastest right now. Still about a second and a half worth off the track record time, so we're still pretty far ways away on that for fun. But Taro Kashida has now just put in the fastest lap, and he's trying to try to close the gap down onto John Joe DeWayne. 1.1 second is the gap between them two and the leaders. We'll look a little bit further back in the field for some good battles. We're looking right now, this is the battle between Matteo Azzari and the number 71 of Greg Sword that you just see on your screen right now coming through turn number 2. That right now is the battle for the 11th and 12th position. These two guys are coming off pretty good weekends out at Blackhawk Farms in the SCCA weekend. Matteo, you spoke with him, Shelton, right before the race in the driver's meeting. How was his weekend out there at SCCA in the Blackhawk Farms?
So the conversation I had with Mateo was really interesting. He finished P7 in race 1 and P10 in race 2. His real concerns was no one wanted to help anybody out the first couple of races, first couple laps of the both races. So yeah, well, Blackhawk Farm it's definitely a draft track, and if you're by yourself, you're just kind of lost.
Kind of similar to what we're experiencing here today as we look a little bit further now. This is, again, the battle for the 4th position between Mike Ryan and Jake Malter. These two guys have been going hand in hand the entire race so far. Malter trying to run that outside, trying to get the draft as he can. As we saw Mike Ryan there trying to put the old squeeze effort on Jake Malter there. Malter, though, goes to the inside, gets the spot down now, and now he moves himself, promotes himself up to the 4th.
Not into the wet patch. But I honestly think the further back you are, the better advantage you have because people are going to make their moves in front of you, and they're going to slow each other down, and you can just pick them off one by one at that point.
You kind of get a chance to see what they're actually made of and what their kind of moves they're doing and what they're going to be making out of it. As we see right now, kind of further up here, Tom Bagley is kind of in the midst of this whole pack here on your screen right now. You can see it is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, all within a line right here. And Tom Bagley in the number 3 is kind of just hanging in the middle of it here, trying to be a little defensive on Mike Ryan. It's opening the door up for some opportunities here from the guys further back. You got Scott Ballard, you got Ethan Tyler, Luke Satterfield, Billy Benning, and Alex Bertinelli all in this mess right here. All single file looking for opportunity to make some passes. Again, further up, we have Taro Kishida, who just put in the fastest lap of the race. So he's slowly closing the gap down on the John Joe Dwayne. The gap is now within a half second, so we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, in the meantime, we'll keep our eye on this battle for your entertainment on the screen here. Malter now leads the group of cars. Further back, and this is going to be number 1, I believe that's number 4 of Alex Bertinoli to the inside of Billy Benning. He'll get the spot. He'll go up to 9th. We'll also like to make an announcement as well while in the middle of this race that all Shelby Club, you have 5 minutes. This is your 5-minute call to grid for Group 4. All Shelby Club personnel, this is your 5-minute call to grid for Group 4. Over on the south track. This is now the shot on your screen further up. This is the battle for the lead now that we've been looking for. With 3 laps to go, it's John Joe DeWay in the 31, Taro Kishida in the 60. That's Matt Alexander a little bit further back, just trying to wait for some opportunity between these two up here in the 157. And if you're some guy like Matt Alexander, what are you looking for out of these two, Taro Kishida and John Joe DeWay? What are you looking for in opportunity-wise?
Just to hope that they keep fighting each other and just back each other up into them. So hopefully he can keep that pace up and stay out of trouble. Keep it on the dry part of the track, and decrease that gap between him and second place.
He's going to need a little bit more of a miracle if he wants to catch back up there, with the gap being about 3.5 seconds between Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander right now. I'd say right now, if things were to stay the way they are, he's looking at himself a 3rd place finish right on the podium spot. But back up front, it's between Taro Kishida and John Joe DeWayne. Joe DeWayne looks like he was able to pull up a little bit of an advantage there down the main straightaway there, and he does click off his fastest lap of the race. Not the fastest lap of the race in total, but John DeWayne's personal fastest. But it was able to extend the gap about another 1/10.5 there over Taro Kishida. Makes a little bit of a mistake there going a little wide. Taro was able to get through turn number 2 a little bit better. We'll see how that plays out as they go through turn number 3. But the battle is still heating up as they come through turn number 3 and 4.
And we got a lap and a half to go. And Jordan, I would like to ask you this question. You're in the lead with a lap and a half to go. What are you thinking? What is going through your head being chased down like less than half than second?
Well, the worst thing you could do right now is look back and look at the guy who's behind you right now chasing you down. It's just the intimidation factor. So if you're John Joe DeWayne, you want to keep your head forward and just focus on hitting your marks and just focus on what's happening in front of you. And that's exactly what he is trying to do right now. And if you're Taro Kishida, you're just looking for any chink in the armor and any place that you're faster than. Right now, Taro probably realizes he's faster than John in turn number 2. He realizes he can get the better exit. He's just got to use that now to kind of his advantage and closing the gap in that area of turn number 2, and then use that to kind of maintain that momentum all the way through the rest of the lap. White flag is now being displayed from the starter stand. We are on our last lap. 1 lap to go for John Joe DeWayne as they head into the turn number 1. Joe DeWayne has extended the gap just about the same, both running identical lap times that last time by, but Joe DeWayne able to kind of hold on to the advantage. He's just going to navigate about 8 more corners, and he's got himself another victory here on the Autobahn season. Through 4 and 5, rest of the field is kind of also making their way past to get the white flag here for the last time by. John Joe DeWayne right now just kind of holding his stride right now through it as Taro Kishida is up behind him. Coming around the corner of turn number 6 here, navigating one of the harder corners left to go on the track. Runs a little bit into that water patch a little bit. It doesn't seem to upset the car at all as we're coming back here. We see some smoke coming over here in turn number 6. Wonder what that could potentially be from, but we'll figure that out here in a little bit. Joe DeWayne trying now to capture his second win on the season as he comes through, navigates as well himself through turn number 7. Taro really drove it in there through turn number 7. Isn't able to get it. He doesn't get the drive off. Joe DeWayne able to extend the gap around the final corners of turn 8 and 9. It's going to be John Joe DeWayne, the number 31 race caddy machine, coming across the line, taking his second win of the season here on the North Track on the Autobahn circuit. Charles Kashida comes home in second. Good point state for him so far in that number 60 car. And Matt Alexander, the 157, comes home in third. That will round out the podium positions here today. Jake Malter, a great finish, coming home in fourth, with Scott Bauer coming in fifth. And our pole sitter, Mike Ryan, caught up in the 3-wide skirmish here, as it's going to be Alex Bertinoli. Luke Satterfield looks like he might have gotten Ethan Tyler at the line to take home the 7th position. Ethan Tyler comes home 8th, Mike Ryan 9th, and Billy Benning rounds out the top 10 as they come across the line. What a race that we saw there, Sheldon.
Yeah, definitely what a race. Especially when the sun comes out. This is a perfect timing for this race. And to go back on the smoke part, maybe somebody is putting a little bit of meat on a Barbie.
Oh boy, what have we gotten ourselves into now? But none.
I mean, we have good weather now, so I mean, I don't blame them.
Nonetheless, first race of 4 that's going to be done. This is the first race also from the SM1 field. We'll be having a double header races as well. So 2 races on the docket today, all for the point standings right now. That was race 4 on the season. Race 5 is going to be happening a little bit later this afternoon. That race is going to be happening around 1:30, but don't go anywhere because coming up next is going to be our SM2 race that's going to be happening. So again, we'll run through the top 10 really quick before we go to take a quick break. Top 10 is good. We'll go through the top 10 as we go through our top 10 results here. Top 10 finishing graphic just now coming up on the screen, and it's going to be John Joe DeWayne who takes home the win over Taro Kashida. Matt Alexander came home in 3rd. Jake Malter was able to finish in 4th. Scott Bauer 5th. Alex Burton only 6th. Luke Satterfield 7th. Ethan Tyler 8th. Mike Ryan, the pole sitter, comes home in 9th. And Billy Benning rounds out the top 10. Go anywhere, folks. You're not going to want to miss it. We got more racing action coming up next. SM2 Race 1 coming up here in just a few minutes.
Attention Northwoods members, with our schedule change because of the delay earlier, just to let everybody know that lunch will start at 12:05. Lunch will start at 12:05 today. So again, Northwoods members, with the schedule change, our lunch break starts at 12:05.
Coverage of today's Autobahn member racing series here from the Autobahn Country Club has been brought to you by Signature Signage Productions. Signature Signage Productions, without their help, would not have been able to bring the sights and pictures and the audio quality that you're able to hear today from our Autobahn live stream. So we thank Signature Signage Productions for all their participation and help in getting our live stream action going. Also, we'd like to thank our sponsors for today's racing action of the Spec Miata series, Cutting Edge Graphics and First Bank Card Processing. First Bank Card Processing also allowing us to sponsor and have these races make them possible and happen for you today. Ahead of the field right now, we are seeing our Lexus LC500 pace car. The Lexus 500 pace car is also part of our performance fleet that you could be having and you could take out for lunchtime touring. But also, we like to thank our partners and the performance fleet of Lexus for providing us the LC500 and the F Sport, the official pace car of the Autobahn Country Club. You can also get in touch here with our sales director, Ron Davish, for any part of our lunchtime touring and the rest of our performance fleet to take out later this afternoon or any day here the Autobahn is open. We are ready to go for race number 2 action here at the Autobahn Country Club. But going on with SM2 as we're getting ready to go. Kevin Lockridge has been able to come away with the pole position with a 1 minute 13.778, the fastest time in the SM2 class. Alongside him, Emin Ryan in the 225 in that Lightning McQueen livery that he's had in that Spec Miata. So that car is going to be easy to pick out and fun to watch. We'll see if it's just as fast as Lightning as he goes on throughout the rest of this race. Nolan Howard at number 95 going to be one of the SM2 rookies, taking his second start today in the Autobahn member racing series. Lines up third, just half a second off of Kevin Lockridge's time. Nolan's going to be an interesting character to watch out there today. Really fast and quick, young kid. Definitely going to be looking for potentially his first win on the year. Starting in fourth is going to be the 229 of Jeff Newman. Jeff Newman also coming off a really good run in the last race that we've had here, just offside the podium position that we had here in the last race on the South Track. So definitely going to be looking for some good things out of Jeff here today. And starting fifth, I believe, in the 808 is Bob Rasinger. Bob unfortunately had an incident that happened in qualifying that I think might have either taken him out of the race here earlier today. So Bob Rasinger had made contact with the turn 9 wall in qualifying. Unfortunately, might not be able to make the race today, but he would start fifth. Starting sixth is the 06 of Chris DiMuzio. Chris DiMuzio going to be lined up in the 6th spot. Next to him in the row number 4 is going to be the 427 of Bruce Malter and the 167 of John Milovec in the 8th spot. Row number 5 in the 9th spot, the 27 of Sean Bonet. Alongside him is the 81 of Emmett Ryan. That rounds out the top 10. Row number 6, the 11th of 80s, in the 11th spot, the 85 of Mark Stadolski. Alongside him is going to be the 0008 of Norm Malter. Starting 13th is going to be the 211th of Noel Sachs, and 14th, the 72 of Gary Traverso. Lining up at 15th is going to be the 66, the father of the winner in race 1 of the Spec Miata series, Gene Jodowain. Alongside him is going to be in the 16th spot, the 98 of Aiden Querney. And starting in 17th, the 43 of Scott Benning Jr. And rounding out shotgun on the field in the 18th spot is the 007 of Andre Van Vieren. Like we said, I talked earlier with Andre. He was a little nervous going into this race. Keeping on the black stuff was the main thing I talked to him about. Pace car has pulled off onto pit road, and we're going to be ready to go. Kevin Lockridge and Emin Ryan piecing this field side by side, 2 by 2 as they roll down the front straightaway here, waiting for on the starter stand, looking up to the flag stand for Chris to give the green flag. Waiting. There it is. Green flag is out. Couple of cars popping out of line. 2 of them at least. That's the first one is going to be the Sean Bonet, the number 27. The other one, the 211 of Noel Sachs. We're looking 4 wide going into turn number 1, circling out to 3 wide, and now everyone going through turn number 1, trying to keep it clean and green here for the very first time this afternoon in the SM2 class. One car is trying to roll the outside as much as they can there. Think better of it. Tuck back in line as they got close to the exit there. But it's Kevin Lockridge and Emin Ryan coming through the first couple corners. Single file 1-2. Field now rolling their way through turns 3 and 4, trying to kind of settle themselves out a little bit and everything. But right now they're just kind of working their way through the first time by here at speed. Lockridge now able to pace this field. That's the number 78, it looks like, or going down to the inside there, a little bit further back. Not able to get a good number on him, so we're trying to see where that action's going. But Emin Ryan now trying to put some pressure a little bit on Kevin Lockridge here. Kevin actually was the first race winner, I believe, earlier this year as well in the first race of the season. So he's had himself a good year so far. As we got one car off, that looks like might be the 229 or the 427 there. I think that's Bruce Malter in the 427 that's potentially off the racetrack there in turn number 7. Able to keep it going, though, as now she's spun again here in turn number 8 and 9.
That just shows you how slippery the grass is and how easy it is to get back on track and just spin it around like that. Now, Jordan, you're in, let's just say that you're you're SM2 driver, and you just saw the SM1 race just finish and all the chaos that unfolded there. What will be going through your head? Like, what is your plan of action at that point before the race starts?
Yeah, obviously we saw the crazy SM1 race that happened beforehand, but it's just kind of right now, take it easy. I would say these first couple laps, kind of feel things out a little bit. Obviously, we knew the track was going to be slick from qualifying that we saw earlier, and these guys have already experienced it being on track. Now the conditions are a little bit better. The track surface is a little bit warmer. The air temperature is a little bit warmer, so you know the track's going to start drying, but you just don't know how fast it's going to start drying, and you don't know the exact spots or where it's going to start drying. So taking those first 2 warm-up laps, now you're these first couple laps of speed and just kind of making your way through, being a little cautious about it, but also trying to be aggressive in the spots you know that are going to be dry and know that you can make some opportune passing areas.
Now, in the first couple of laps, would you just hang back and just get your rhythm in, or would you just kind of push for a position, not force anything, but go for the gaps that presents itself?
Obviously you want to go for those gaps early on because everyone's going to be close and tight to you. That's when it's the time to make some moves and make some passes. As we saw one guy go locking up going into turn number 4 there, that was, I believe, the 211 of Noel Sachs. But I think as we go into the first couple laps, I think you got to be aggressive. I like to say you got to be more passive aggressive. You got to be aggressive going into some of the corners, but you also have to be kind of cautious a little bit as you're working your way through, because you can't just be too aggressive and throw the race away or throw the car off in the grass. You got to be kind of cognizant and just be there at the end. So that's the biggest thing, is just understanding where the limit is on the track, but then once you find the limit, that's where you adhere to it. So as we're looking back further up, we got a battle for lead, and now they're heating up. That's Kevin Lockridge who holds the spot right now. Evan Ryan looked like he had a very good run through turn number 6 there, coming off of turn number 6 into turn number 7 now. But Ryan was able to kind of think better of it, tuck back in line, trying to learn a little bit on where he might be better than Kevin Lockridge as well. Emmett Ryan also, I believe, coming off of a victory this past, never mind, that was a young bird, Connor Ryan, coming off a victory in the last race here on the South Track. So Connor Ryan was able to take the last victory. Emin is right now trying to repay the favor and be the other brother to go back to victory lane here today. So we're trying to see if Emmett can make that happen. He looks to the inside. Lockridge drives a little bit deep through turn number 2 and able to get the drive off that he needs to be able to retain that lead.
Looking at the times between Kevin Lockridge and Iman Ryan, less than a tenth lap time from each other. So they're actually pushing it and creating that gap very early on. Is that the advantage of having clean air, or are they just working together?
The advantage of just not being able to battle with everybody. Obviously they're up front because they set the pace early on in qualifying, but also at the same time, everyone else, we're looking a lot further back, everyone's battling with each other. They're all constantly in a fight with each other. Emmett Ryan and Kevin Lockridge haven't really been fighting with one another. We have one car off at turn number 6 here. That looks like potentially 1 or 2 cars. The 08 of, I believe that might be Norm Malter, who was off at turn number 6, trying to get himself going back onto the racetrack there, and now enters onto the racetrack in turn number 6, able to continue on and going, but just kind of locked it up a little bit. Maybe hit that water patch that we saw at the exit of turn number 6 and just drove straight off in the track. Very easy to do on that kind of a corner.
Yeah, very easy, and like all the other drivers said before, 6, 7, 8 are the problem areas, but 6 is definitely the problem child in this race.
I was definitely talking with Scott Bowman before the race in the drivers' meeting, and he definitely said turn 6 was something you kind of have to alter your line a little bit. You can't drive the normal dry line as far wide as you are because of that puddle stretch that we have there. So definitely able to see how that has transitioned and turned into the race. As we saw Sean Bonet now move up a spot on the leaderboard. He's gotten by the number 81, I believe, of Emmett Ryan, so we can move Sean Bonet up into the 4th spot. He's also now going to be on the hunt trying to go after Jeff Newman, and that's for a podium position. Sean Bonet already has a win on the year in the second race of the season. In the first race, he had a little bit of a problem with the car itself. I believe he was a little bit further off, was able to get the lead, then had a problem with the car. Then he went to the second race of the season, was able to come back. He took the win in that race. This last race, he was entered the race, had a clutch problem. So Sean Bonet has kind of gone through different mechanical failures and everything in the car. The car has let him down a couple of times, but he's also, when he's been in the fight and in racing, has been up front. So he's now trying to build some points back to get back into this championship fight. Like I said, he's already got a win to his credit on the year. He has completed now only, I would say, one of the 3 races on the season. He's looking to complete half of the races now and put in another good result as well. As we all say, in a championship fight, when you're trying to go after a championship, consistency is key.
You are 100%, 110% correct, Jordan. Consistency is always key in the championship. Even if you have one bad race, you will always want to, just stay consistent, because one bad race doesn't have to tell the season, but if you can be consistent and get good points, then it will show at the end of the year.
Yeah, especially like when you look at, the races we have here, we were able to, allow some drops throughout the course of a season. So in order to get some of these guys throughout the course of the season, all the races in, we drop at least 3 to 4 races throughout the course of the year. So you're allowed to have some bad races here and there to not tell the tale of your season. And that's also to kind of miss some races if you need to. But when you do the races you do make and you do perform in, you want to be able to have those good results, and those are going to take a long way of what a championship run is going to be like right now. As we look at some of the point standings right now, as the race has kind of nullified itself a little bit, we have right now Mark Stadolski on top of the point standings with Kevin Lockridge sitting in second. He's currently 45 points behind Mark Stadolski. Stadolski, having a really good race so far, is kind of mired back in the 8th spot right now. He's trying to chase down Christian Musio there in the 0-6, as well as starting to stay ahead of Noel Sachs for that 8th spot right now, as we see Noel Sachs trying to go to the inside. He's going to go to the inside, and he'll take the spot away from Mark Stadolski. So move Noel Sachs now up to the 8th position. Stadolski going to mire back down to the 9th spot, and that's just going to make him lose even more points to Kevin Lockridge, who's up in front right now, who really needs a win on this season, has come really close. Podium the last couple of races, has been, finished 3rd and 2nd, but still waiting for that elusive win on the year.
Yeah, if he does everything right, then that win will come to him. And so far, he's doing everything he can to keep Iman Ryan right behind him. And currently, that gap is half a second.
Yeah, half a second indeed. Kevin Lockridge is still trying to manage that gap and pull away as much as he can in that sense. So right now, field coming across the line right now, it's Lockridge still ahead of Emin Ryan. The gap is now transitioned down to 2/10 of a second. Emin Ryan just putting down the fastest lap of the race right now, 2/10 quicker than what Kevin Lockridge has run all race long. So Emin Ryan now flexing the guns and showing what the pace is really truthful on right now against Kevin Lockridge. Also, right now, we have also an immediate call to grid for Shelby Club people for the South Track. Group 1, this is an immediate call to grid on the South Track. Leaders now coming through turn 6 right now. They should come up to the starter stand and potentially see the halfway point this time by. So we're just about halfway through the race, as now Kevin Lockridge has led all 7 laps so far leading up to this point. But Evan Ryan has just been kind of waiting in the wings, just kind of seeing what Kevin Lockridge is doing, studying him as much as he can. Shelton, when we talk about studying a driver, what are you really looking for out of him when trying to set up a pass?
Like you said before, you're trying to study his strengths and weaknesses and where you can make that pass that, or just fill his head up. But right now, Kevin Lockridge is doing as much as he can to keep Iman Ryan right behind him. But he's still pushing. He's still there. He's knocking on the door.
Field now also coming across the line there. As you can see, that's the battle for 3rd spot there. Jeff Newman right now is kind of held out to that 3rd spot right now, but Sean Bonet is slowly closing in, as we do have a car off at the exit of turn number 9 right now. We're trying to figure out who that potentially could be. A car that sits off at the exit of turn 9 as the leaders are coming around turn number 6. Potentially the car might be there by the time they come back, as it is wet grass. It's very hard to get out of. He's trying as much as he can to get out of, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I think he might be stuck. I think he might have spun those wheels. Oh, he's going. He's got himself out.
Yep, I mean, wet grass and everything, it's definitely hard to get out of it. That looks like it might be the 43 of Scott Benning Jr., who has now gotten himself going again. Meanwhile, leaders are coming through turn number 8 into turn number 9. As we can see, all the crowd and the spectators over there by turn number 1 cheering on their favorite drivers throughout the course of the event. If you can hear us down there over in turn number 1, give a little wave over there as we were going to be on the live stream later this evening, if you can watch back. Leaders now flashing us by going into turn number 1, going into turn number 2. Lockridge still holding on to the lead over Emin Ryan. Here's the battle for the third spot. Last position on the podium. Jeff Newman has it. Sean Bonet wants it. And then we have a gaggle of cars a little bit further back. That is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And that's going to be the battle between Evan Ryan, Chris DeMuzio, Nolan Lehman, Noel Sachs, Mark Stodolski, and John Milovic.
Yeah, and they're all nose to tail for this part of the race now. So definitely look at the midfield to see some passes being made.
Chris DeMuzio definitely starting to get a little racy there, as we're also seeing Noel Sachs potentially getting a little racy there. He pokes a nose to the inside of Nolan Lehman. Lehman trying to roll the inside as much as he can there. I'll also give a shout out to his brother, Dominic Lehman, who's watching the stream over on University of Tennessee right now. So pleasure for him to turn in and to be able to watch his brother racing while he's off at college. But we're also further back. That's championship leader Mark Stodolski, who gets into Noel Sachs. Sachs sliding into turn number 6, hits the wall in turn number 6 on the outside there with the rear end of the car. He kind of draws out drivers left right now, trying to roll it, maybe get into a safe spot there. That potentially could be a safe location just off the beaten path, but not if anybody else goes off track.
Yeah, that's like we said before. Turn 6 has definitely been he's waving. He's waving to the marshals.
We're looking right now to see what potentially could happen. Flag stands, and yellow flag is out. We are going full course yellow. Full course yellow for the incident between the number 211 and Noel Sachs making contact with the outside retaining wall in the turn number 6, just on the exit. And once again, 5 laps to go in this race. This race now gets nullified and gets neutralized, Shelton.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for a lot of these drivers that were making moves on drivers or getting gaps on drivers. So this is definitely going to hurt a lot of people.
But we look at this, the gap that both Kevin Lockridge and Emin Ryan had. You're looking at a 12-second gap between the rest of the field. That's now all gone between those two. Look a bit further back. You look at Jeff Newman. You look at Sean Bonet, who were 12 seconds back. They now have a shot potentially winning this race.
Yeah, like you said, it's up in the air now with the pace car out. Everything is up in the air. We don't know who's going to take it, and now with the pace car being out, hopefully we have maybe a lap or two of racing. Hopefully.
Yeah, it depends on how fast they're going to get this action and all the scene cleaned up here. As I think Noel Sachs might have been moved as well. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to get another camera angle to see if he's moved back there as well. To see over in turn number 6 or turn number 7 if he's on track still. But nonetheless, this race has been nullified and neutralized in a sense. We're coming close towards the end of it. Like we mentioned, 4 laps to go. The rest of the field is now starting to get caught back up. And this plays right into the hands of Jeff Newman and Sean Bonet to potentially get back into the fight for a potential win here. But again, that was also a battle between Mark Stodolski and Noel Sachs there. Stodolski had a really good run coming out of turn number 6 in that sense. So really interesting to see Stodolski try to go to the inside there, make the pass stick. I just don't know if Stodolski might have moved up the track there and kind of ran Noel Sachs out of road, or did Noel Sachs just drive himself off the racetrack there because Stodolski was on the inside? It was very hard to tell from our angle.
Yeah, he did come into the corner at a bit of an angle already. So we don't know if he got tapped or if he just lost the rear end. So we're going to hopefully get some more info on that incident.
We'll find out here sooner or later if we're able to provide the info to you. We will indeed, but nonetheless, we're still trying to work on getting the rest of the field cleaned up, gathered up, and ready to go as well. Field is now given the 1-to-go signal on the pace car. So the pace car lights have gone out. Field now getting the 1-to-go signal with 3 laps to go. So my friend Shelton, we got ourselves a green-white checkered shootout finish here for this first race.
You know what this looks like, the Indy 500 all over again. Except we're not going in the oval this time.
No, and we're not also having a long replay run in that sense. But it's also not a 1-lap shootout, thank goodness. So in this sense right now, we're also going to be doing like old NASCAR style, green, white, checkered. We got to have the green flag, 1 lap, come around, get the white flag, the next lap, get the checkered. So this is where a lot of drama can actually happen in this race, and a lot of big moves can be made, and anything can happen. We can have, a bunch of guys setting into turn number 1. We can also have a bunch of guys, trying to pull away or potentially drive off the track. We're ready for an action-packed restart here. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and with the green-white checker coming up, you're in second place. You're M and Ryan, and what's going through your head right now? You have the stress of trying to pass Kevin and then trying to hold Jeff.
Yeah, and exactly. And here's the biggest thing. You have Kevin Lockridge, you have Emmett Ryan, you have Jeff Newman. All three are on the podium right now. All three have been on the podium. Well, two of them, Kevin Lockridge and Jeff Newman, have been on the podium before. But they're all three looking for their first win of the season, as Kevin Lockridge is already starting to roll a little bit here, waiting to see what's going to happen. Newman trying to catch back up to it. Green flag is now back in the air. We're back to racing, and here we go. Kevin Lockridge is coming back to the line, but Evan Ryan trying to look to the inside. Lockridge going to go a little defensive here. Lockridge now holds the spot. Evan Ryan going to tuck back in line. Sean Bonet in the 27th. Look at the inside. Newman coming in hot.
Yeah, Jeff had to go defensive on that too to make sure he kept third place from Sean Bonet.
Bonet now looking to the inside of Newman, thinks better of it, tucks back in line, but that brings Connor Ryan into the mix right now. Connor Ryan all over the back bumper of Sean Bonet. Bonet now trying to look back to the inside of Newman. It's time to go, boys. Make your move here as we're coming down off of turn number 5. Bonet tucks back in line. He may look to the inside here into turn number 6. Thinks better of it. Connor Ryan on the outside. Gets a little squirrely through turn number 6 there. Able to hold onto it. Sprays up a little bit of dirt. One car off. That looks like Noel Lehman. Noel Lehman coming back onto the racetrack. Holds onto it and keeps the car pointed straight. Meanwhile, further back, Connor Ryan to the inside of Sean Bonet. Connor Ryan up to the 4th spot. Bonet now looking back to the inside here. Connor Ryan trying to hold that spot on the outside. They're going to go side by side through turn number 8 and 9. Off the final corner, though. White flag about to be displayed, and it is displayed for Kevin Lockridge across the line over Evan Ryan. Jeff Newman holds up this podium spot. Meanwhile, 4 by back. Here comes Stadolski trying to look 3 wide into turn number 1. Thinks better of it. Holds Chris DeMusio a little bit further back. DeMusio going to try to go back to the outside. And the biggest thing in this whole case is Mark Stadolski trying to get every point he can back in here, as he was a little bit further back in the point standing. So Mark Stadolski now trying to make up as much time and ground as he can to limit the damage of points that he potentially could be losing to Kevin Lockridge.
Yeah, this is where you, if we have any poker players, this is where you put all in your on the table just to see if anything works, but just make sure you don't take yourself out in the process.
Kevin Lockridge came into this race second in the point standings, 45 points behind Mark Stadolski. Stadolski, having himself not the best of races, finds himself back into the 6th or 7th position, is going to be losing some points here. This is a race he will probably want to forget, especially with Kevin Lockridge being down in front. Coming around the final couple of corners of turn 8 and 9. Lockridge became a member here at Autobahn just last year, has put in all the work that he has over the offseason into this season, has gotten himself on the podium a couple of times this time, but Kevin Lockridge going to come across the line, take his first win in the Spec Miata SM2 class, and will now also hold the advantage of potentially making a lot of points on Mark Stadolski, who now comes across the line to finish P5 over Emmett Ryan to round out the top 5 positions. Kevin Lockridge takes the win. Emmett Ryan comes home in 2nd, and Jeff Newman rounds out the podium in 3rd. What a great, I would say, a couple laps here that we were able to see in that green-white checkered finish.
Yeah, and hats off to Kevin, too, for starting on pole, leading every lap, and setting the fastest lap. And what do we call that? A grand slam in racing, right?
That's the perfect score that you want there, getting a pole position, leading every single lap of the race, and then now coming home with the checkered flag as well. So definitely a very good, well-earned run for him. And we'll also give hats off to Emmett Ryan as well. First career podium, I would say, for SM2. So definitely the Ryans family is definitely getting a lot of hype and a lot of notoriety here as well. And congratulations also to Jeff Newman coming home 3rd on the board. He's got a lot of friends and family here today, so they're going to be well and well celebrating with Jeff Newman. But don't go anywhere, because we still have one more race left to go, but we'll go actually over the top 10 results really quick. Kevin Lockridge takes home his first career win. Emmett Ryan comes home in 2nd. Jeff Newman rounds out the podium in 3rd. First career podium also for Emmett Ryan as well, and Jeff Newman coming home with his third podium of the season or second podium of the season with a bunch of friends and family here as well. Sean Bonet going to come up just a little bit short on the podium, but comes home in fourth position, gains some good points here today. Mark Stadolski, damage limitation here, and also does it first race off the podium for Mark Stadolski. He'll come home in fifth. Emmett Ryan comes home and finishing in sixth. Kristen Musio finishes seventh, John Milovic in eighth, Gary Traverso in ninth, and Gene Joe Dwayne, who had to actually start a little bit further back in the field, all the way back in 15th. Both him and Gary Traverso, 14th and 15th, able to come home with top 10 finishes, finishing 9th and 10th. So while we're at it, the first set of races are done. We're going to be going on a little bit of a break here. Don't go anywhere, though, because we still have more racing coming up here. SM2, the SM Spec Miata field and the SM2 field are going to be back in action a little bit later this afternoon at around 1:30 p.m. Central Time here for the Spec Miata racing that you're going to want to see here. Also, you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed now, too, because if you haven't, then you'll be getting the notifications as well. Share it to everybody else. Like the video as well. Reach out to everybody else. Tell them you want to be watching this kind of Spec Miata racing because it's one of the best Spec Miata racing you'll see in the world. So for myself, Jordan Missick, Lewis here on the broadcast booth, we'll take a step aside and take a little bit of break. Come back around 1:30 Central Time to catch more racing action.